What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different. We're going to be looking through my top 3 medieval games of 2016 and 2017. Now of course this is all opinionated as I haven't played a lot of the games other than one of them, so it's not like I can truly judge these games yet. This is just from what I've seen and what I've heard. So without further ado, let's get into the first game. So, the first game I'm going to be talking about in this video is Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, this game is made by Warhorse Studios, who, though you may not have heard of, the developers in their team have some great experience working on games such as Mafia, Forza, and the original Flashpoint. Now, the main aim of this game is to be realistic. I mean, the slogan of the game is Dungeons and not Dragons, so that means there's no magic or anything like that, which is kind of nice really to get a change of pace. Now the combat looks to be quite immersive with multiple possible playstyles, and the characters react to kind of how they're hit. So it's not just you can spam attacks and kind of get away with it, it's not that sort of game. If you get hit, your character will react to this. Now with the story, the game takes place in the 15th century Europe, where the king has died and his brother has come to kind of wreak havoc on the new ruler and try to take over. You play as the son of a blacksmith whose family's been murdered, and he kind of wishes to see justice for this, so he's going to become kind of the hero of the story. Now this game is non-linear, so it leads up to having multiple possible playthroughs, especially with the adaptive AI like they plan to have in this game, where routines and things like that will change depending on what you do. I don't have to tell you this, but the game simply looks beautiful, and playing a large-scale battle with these graphics really should be quite something special, especially with this realistic theme that they're going for, where each man will really matter in winning the combat, because obviously it's realistic and each man should make a difference. Now the game also has other features of course, such as horse riding, crafting, and with the crafting all of this will be kind of mini games, so that's quite a cool thing. It won't just be that generic crafting where you click and something appears in your inventory, which is what most games kind of go for nowadays. You will actually have to have some kind of skill for the crafting to pay off. Now there is a few more things I would have liked to talk about in this game, but the trailer here is quite short. But I mean, from all this you should be able to get a feel for why this game is in my top 3. Now I've been excited about this since I saw it in the Kickstarter, and I imagine a lot of medieval game fans will have been watching and keeping up on this. Now this game is in alpha and beta, so if you want to try it out yourself you may still be able to get a copy of that. So on to the next game. Now this next game is one that's got me really quite excited. It's made by Ubisoft, and this game is meant to have a lot of large scale battles between 3 sides: the knights, the samurai and the Vikings. Now these large scale battles, even in the multiplayer, seem to have AI within them, which actually looks to be quite a cool thing. So having a few AI on your side could really turn the tide against someone who's actually a better player than you, if you use these tactically of course. Now with them you could work to your advantage, or they may allow for a slightly kind of different experience to most games against your opponents, since most of the time it's kind of focused on the players as opposed to having any AI with you. Or you could just of course cut through all of these and take out the player, which is where skill could really come into play. Now looking at the combat of this game, it looks very immersive with plenty of variations, such as using the environment to kill your enemies by kicking them off a wall or even into fire. It does look quite skill based, the combat. It actually looks quite hard to master, but that could be a good thing, just like Warband is quite fun when you kind of get good at it sort of thing. Now there is a single player campaign on this game, so you don't have to always rely on other players, or if you want a more relaxed experience or even a place to train, you do have this option. Now after watching one of the missions on the game, it looks like the characters do actually have a sense of humour too, which is kind of always a nice touch. The basic story of the game is something kind of devastating happened to the world, which led to the 3 sides to fight for a whole millennium. After all this time, it looks like the 3 sides are almost really getting tired of fighting each other, which you can't really blame them for after fighting for a whole millennium. But the Blackstone, which seems to be a more kind of secretive side within the game, don't want this kind of peace to happen, so they keep throwing fuel onto the fire, making sure that the fight keeps burning on. Now this could mean that the story could have some depth to it, but at this time it is quite hard to tell, as I think the developers are more kind of focused on the multiplayer side of things. Now, in the game there are some aspects of customization with armor packs and different symbols or ensigns that you can change on your character. This isn't too in depth from what I've seen, but at least it does allow the game to have some variant. Now from watching all the trailers, I have watched quite a few of them, you can't really tell from this trailer I guess, as it's not a gameplay one. The characters just look really cool. All the factions have, you know, their own kind of armor, their own look, and they look quite amazing. The game does look like it could be quite hectic, but I think that's not a bad thing at all. I think it will just keep people interested in the battle that's ongoing. So this is another one that I definitely just had to put in my top 3 because it's really caught my attention over the last couple of months. So let's move on to the final game. Now this is going to be M&B2 Bannerlord, which is a game made by Tailworlds, of course the same people that made M&B Warband, which is obviously one of my favourite games of all time. You've seen this if you've watched most of my videos, you'll see I have quite a lot of videos on there. So, I've been quite a big fan of the Mount and Blade series. I've been playing since the original, even before Warband. There's something about it which just seems to keep me interested and has made me enjoy it for well over 5 years. Bannerlord will take place 200 years prior to Warband and will have a map that is 3 times larger than Warband, as well as including areas that are south and east of the original map. It'll include a fully functioning weather and season system, so one place can differ quite a bit depending on what season it is you arrive in. And this will also affect how certain troops perform. For example, cavalry units are weaker in the rain and snow, which could affect them quite a bit, especially if your army is based on cavalry. Now, as you can already tell from this video, the graphics have improved quite a bit since Warband, and it looks much more appealing now. There are now also going to be board games that you can play in the tavern, which should add quite a bit of fun into towns and give you something extra to do, especially if you can do this online with friends, which we're not too sure at this point whether you can or not, as it hasn't really been mentioned, but if you can, it could add for a bit of fun and a couple of things that you can do in tournaments. Sieges have also had an upgrade now, where there are now siege weapons that you can place wherever you want on the battlefield, allowing for a lot of different tactics when it comes to these sort of things, and the castles are in a much more destructive environment. So now you can destroy anything from the walls to the gates, which just makes it a bit more interesting really. You don't just have to go up a ladder like you do in Warband or go through a broken gate. Now the AI are also much smarter now, and they'll dodge things like arrows, and they'll stay away from attacks, kind of dodge attacks and that sort of stuff. So they should be a lot less robotic, which should make the combat a bit more immersive. Now when it comes to these siege weapons, you can do anything from pushing the ram to climbing up the siege towers, which makes it quite an interesting thing, as it again makes it more immersive. You can climb up ladders, climb up the siege towers, batter the rams, fire the catapults, anything like that is now a possibility. Now one of the interesting features that I've seen is this sword customization, so you can create your own swords from anything from the blade to the pommel. It can all be different. I believe you can change the guard and the handle as well, and this will also change the stats, not just the look of the weapon, so it could be aesthetically pleasing, but it also make a weapon that fits your playstyle. Now another interesting feature that I've seen is they've added a replay system, which being a YouTuber could come in very handy if you want to make videos that are from kind of a different perspective, maybe not from your point of view. Now it could also be very handy if you just want to share a moment with your friends, just something little like people do on PlayStation, or even if you just want to keep a moment kind of saved for yourself, just for memory's sake or anything like that, or if it's something you found particularly impressive, or maybe even just looks nice. Now the devs are said to be trying to make the world a very kind of living place, so as well as all these features, there are gangs in towns which you can join or you can take out depending on what sort of character you are, and the taverns should have an atmosphere around. So taverns, when you go into them, will now actually feel like a tavern. You'll feel like you're in a medieval tavern. From all of these things, I've decided to put this as my #1 medieval game of 2016/17, as I truly think this could be something legendary, especially as the developers themselves have said that they're trying to keep the combat and the feel of the game quite similar to Warband, which is obviously great news for us Warband players, as we've obviously enjoyed that very much, managing to play the game for over 5 years now. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you have enjoyed this and you like this sort of video and you want to see more of it, don't forget to leave a like, and if you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments as well, and I'll see if I can do anything like that. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and it would be much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Shit. I'm going to get off the horse because he's a pain in the arse.